So tell us a little bit about Forland. I know you bought this large building complex in 2017, and it's been in development since then. But what is Forland, just for our viewers?
Sure. Forland is a contemporary arts ecosystem with about 30 some odd artist studios. We have multiple exhibition spaces. We have a special event space. We have food and beverage. And it's a campus that's spread over 3 historic structures that were built in the 1800s and have since been rehabilitated and renovated.
Right, because they used to be mills, right?
Exactly
for
right.
soldier uniforms, is that right?
Yeah, they were built during the Civil War, and they served to produce the Union soldiers' uniforms. So
amazing.
The Yankees.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's really cool.
I've seen pictures of this space, and it's beautiful, first of all, and it has this very kind of simple, natural beauty that I think evokes upstate New York very much. Is that why you chose these mills as the birthplace for Forland?
You know, I've always loved old buildings, and I love architecture, I love design, and there's a long history of artists inhabiting and then by their nature rehabilitating old or abandoned structures and kind of creating colonies in these spaces. And when I saw this particular, our flagship building, the big building, I just fell in love. Yeah. And yeah, it is. It's like a big, beautiful Catskill mountain. Yeah.
You know, it's interesting you're talking about having this sort of love for rehabilitating something that is beautiful in essence.
Yeah.
I know that you're an artist yourself, is that correct? You make your own sculptures and you have a studio at Forland.
I do.
Itself. I've seen pictures of your artworks and they're really awesome. I mean, they really play with texture and form a lot. Tell us a little bit about how you started making these sculptures.
I mean, I worked in photographs for the longest time. And then I had my studio lost in Hurricane Sandy, and I really think that was the impetus for looking for something permanent. I think it sent me on a quest for permanence and for something bigger than just going into my studio and making these kind of fragile images and objects. So I started to build these big kind of clunky sculptures, and for some reason I just really fell in love with figuring out how to orientate myself in space, and that's how I ended up coming to do a giant development, I think.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I mean, as a practicing artist and as someone who's, I know you've gone to Miami University in California, College of the Arts for your education in the arts. You know, now that you're kind of stepping forward not only as a practicing artist, but also to create a space where you're supporting whole communities of artists, what's one thing, or maybe even 2 things, that you wished you had learned when you were going to college and learning about art?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think a lot of the things that I learned, especially in my master's degree, I had to unlearn after my master's degree,
like
oddly.
What, for instance?
Well, I don't like art speak. So I had to get out of art school and remember how to start talking about my work just from my gut. Just like 2 people having conversations, not one person and one robot having a conversation.
Right. I mean, an art speak is something it's kind of like something you learn in art school, but it's also sometimes something like that you see on like the wall printout of an exhibition, right? And they use these fancy theoretical terms, and that's art speak.
And exactly right. And I think that strips a lot of the intimacy away of what it is to be a working artist. And I am someone that really believes in gut as guide. That's how I root my practice, I would say, as a working artist. So, but to get back to your question, I really think the biggest thing that I would teach if I wanted to be an educator, or what I would encourage more master's programs and undergrad programs to do, is to talk about entrepreneurship with artists. Because that's what you are. You do your own marketing, your own accounting. I mean, you have to understand the art market or you can't kind of compete. So a lot of us come out of art school being great artists, but terrible business people. And you need to be both, which doesn't sound very fun or sexy, but it's true.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting you say that, Steph, because I think the common perception, even I think sometimes among artists themselves, unfortunately, is that, well, artists and business people are 2 different categories or breeds of humans, right?
Sure.
And that the 2 don't merge. Right. But what you're revealing is that actually you're going to art school to make art and then sell your product. I mean, you're selling what you make, and art has always been sold, right?
Always, absolutely.
So that seems like a really important thing there, that they are not actually, the artist is actually a business person at heart. They're just not given the tools, it sounds like.
A great artist and a great business person, one doesn't preclude the other. And in fact, I think it's that I spent decades as a working artist that really helped me stand my ground and figure out how to become a developer. I mean, it's just me on these big giant construction sites, just surrounded by men in hard hats calling shots. And the way that I did that is by being a good artist, I think, honestly. That was the root of it all, because I knew what I knew what needed to be built. I knew I could look at floors and say, we have to save these floors. No, we shouldn't cover these floors. Let the artists have these floors, these hundreds of year old planks. I just knew that artists would love it. So it was my guts as an artist that helped me be a good developer, but the developer is going to teach me how to live in the art world better.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And I know there have been other people from outside these artist communities and even just going within it that have taken interest in Forland. I know New York Representative Antonio Delgado visited the site earlier this April, and that some politicians are now finally seeing the arts as, these art institutions, rehabilitating spaces into art spaces as vehicles for promoting the economy in upstate towns and cities. How do you see Forland playing a role in Catskills' economy in the near future?
That's a great question, and it's a really important one to me. I think Forland is part of a rising tide, and rising tides lift all boats. So Forland now, you take 85,000 square feet that was not being used, it was just darkened windows, and you fill that up with people. Main Street is going to continue to come alive. The businesses that were on Main Street before Forland, after Forland, they are going to be full of new patrons, so that's huge. But more regionally also, we have swells of artists that are leaving city centers looking for more utopic ways of working, or places where they can raise young families, own a home and be a working artist, and have access to good economic drivers that are larger cities, let's say, and they need studios. So Forland is the only place like it within 100 miles. And I think it'll really regionally be a very cool destination, not just for tourism, but for the arts.
What kinds of programs do you have coming up that people can look forward to in August or September or further down the line?
We have Rachel Uffner Gallery and Mrs. Gallery. They're doing a joint exhibition in our Water Street galleries, which is like this big, beautiful 4,000 square foot space. And
it's hard to wrap your head around a space quite that large, right?
I always forget. I'm like, I put myself in the building when I talk about the building to remember where I am. And that's opening August 14th. That'll be open Saturdays and Sundays through mid-September. And then we're doing a big public launch, which will be, we're hosting a giant exhibition by New Art Dealers Alliance, NADA for short. And there will be over 84 galleries and over 100 artists exhibiting their work all throughout the campus.
Wow.
So you come in one place and you end up exploring every single inch of the building and seeing work. And that is happening August 28th and 29th from 11 a.m. to 8 p.m.
That is
free and open to the public.
Free and open to the public.
I know awesome is kind of a lame word, but it is truly awesome, you know?
Awesome in the fullest sense of the word,
In the fullest sense of the word. And then you get the added benefit of getting to see work installed in these spaces and see how the work activates the space and the space activates the work. And I think it'll be really something special.
Amazing. That sounds inspirational, Steph.
Yeah, I hope you'll come.
Yes, absolutely. I think everybody's going to be looking forward to checking out what Forland has in store for us. So thank you so much for being on A House for Arts. It was such a pleasure having you.
It was a pleasure having you too. Or wait, it was a pleasure talking to you. Can we take that one back?